So at this time, I would like to thank all of those of you who are joining us on social media here at the Temple of the Living God in St. Petersburg, Florida. We are so very happy that you've joined to be with us, and we look forward to sharing a wonderful time today with you, and we hope that you are inspired as we are here on a weekly basis. I'd like to share an inspirational message, and it speaks on change. And it's from the Daily Word, and it reads as such, and I quote, "I embrace change and the opportunities for good that it offers. When conditions around me are not what I think they should be, my first thought might be to resist a situation or try to change it. If this becomes a common way of responding, life may become a struggle in areas where there could have been an easy flow or even an exciting adventure. God's presence is always supporting me and helping me grow through any challenge. I don't resist the changing states of affairs in the world and in my life because I know that opportunities for good come with change. I release any tendency to resist and open my heart to the presence of God. God's presence invites me to embrace life and to know that all is well." And so it is. And so it is. And so let us now listen to Carol and Alex singing an absolutely beautiful song entitled Higher Place.
Yes, this goes along with Lynne's talk title today, Change Your Mind to Expand Your World. You have to go to a higher place to do that. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. No more forward, no more backward, no more spinning around and around. My life is moving ever upward. My feet are leaving the ground. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. No more downward, no more darkness, no more wondering the point of it all. My life is destined, oh, for greatness. My soul has answered the call. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place.
Good morning. I love being with you guys. You know what? It's so wonderful to have this community of a place where we can come and actually access a higher place. Have you noticed that? How many times do you come here in a place perhaps that feels doubtful or heavy or there's resentment or resistance of some kind and leave uplifted? If you've had that happen to you here, this is a miracle place. This is a place because a miracle means it's a sudden change. It's an unexpected change. It's a change that says, how could that have happened? And so just acknowledging that we do have places that we can build into our lives that remind us just by stepping into them to move to a higher place. So today, if I were to retitle my talk today, I think it would say that it's a shift in perception that shifts us to an expanded universe, that allows us to move to a higher place. And a higher place, think about it, when you're on a mountaintop and you're looking out over, and it's that higher place gives you that vantage point of being able to see that which up close, it's really, really hard to gain perspective. It's hard to see clearly. It's like walking up to a picture on the wall and pressing your nose up against the glass and trying to see it from here. This is what it's like sometimes to look at our own life. We just can't see it that well from there. And so we want to gain perspective so that we can see more and see from a higher perspective. I think this is one of the reasons why birds like eagles and hawks are considered spiritual, because they have that perspective of being able to rise above the fray, rise above it all, and see, focus in on and see with precision. And that's one of the things that a higher place does for us. I think that there are two tools that would be helpful, and that's what I want to do with you today, is just hand you a few tools for moving to a higher place. Wouldn't that be nice to know that we have tools, and we can use them whenever we want. And there's two main tools that we're equipped with, that we have access to, and one of them is a positive perception or perspective. So with that tool, and the other tool is the imagination. Did you know that's a tool for moving to a higher place? You can also use it, by the way, for moving to a lower place. We're very acclimated to that way of using our imagination. What if this happens? What if that happens? Okay, this is going to, right? Do you know that one? That's using my imagination. It's not what's happening right now. It's me going somewhere in my imagination. I believe that the imagination is the voice of God within us. That is the tool we're given to access. I remember growing up in an age where it was often said, you're just imagining that. That's just your imagination. Like, that was a problem. And I grew up to think of the imagination as like, what is that? It's useless. What is that? It's not. And have only come to see more and more the power of the imagination and what it offers as being able to create a higher perspective, being able to say, well, how would I like it to be? You know, there's two kinds of vision. There's the vision that we see with our eyes out in the world, like I'm looking out and I can see lights and barely see Steve back there. Oh, yeah, if I do this, I can see him. And see you guys sitting here in your chairs. And this is the world vision. This is the vision I see. But, you know, there is a second way of seeing, a second sight. And that is the inner sight. You know, I can be sitting here looking directly at Zemke. I did this a lot in school, maybe you did too, where I would be looking at the teacher. I'd see her there, see the teacher moving around the room, see the other students. And there was a whole nother scene going on that was imposed upon her, the teacher or him, the classroom. Yeah, I was in the classroom, I was there, but I was out in the field running with my dogs or on my horse, and I was there. I was feeling the wind in my hair, you know. I was smelling the smell of horse. I love that smell, that good old barn smell of like, you know, and I am there, and I'm sitting here looking and smiling at the teacher. The teacher might even think I'm in the room, but I have so left the room. And that is the imaginal space. And it is a God gift. Because do you know the only difference between those two types of vision? They're both illusion. They're both made up in the mind. You know, but it's just that the inner space is the a priori space. It's the space that happens first, and then we project that inner view out into the world, and we meet it there. This is a universal law. We visualize it first. We see it first in our mind. And then we project it out, and it becomes flesh. It becomes three-dimensional. This is what we're here to do. We're here to project out our imagination, whatever we're imagining. Now, here's the thing about that. Now, remember, it's all mental. We live in a mental universe. The alchemists, and I say this over and over again, the alchemists taught that all galaxies, 400 billion plus, we don't even know how many, all of that's happening in the same one mind of the creator source. And that, they went on to say, alchemists, that means there is only one substance, and everything is made of it. And it is mental in substance. It is consciousness. Everything is made of it. Nothing is not. And that means it's very mutable because it's energetic. And the thing we know about energy is that it always changes form, and can only change form. It cannot die. It doesn't go away. It just changes form. You know, it's like those salt crystals in your palm, those big crystals, and you can touch it, taste it, and then you put it in water and stir it around, it dissolves, and it's like they're gone. They are no more. Stick your finger in the water, they're still there, changed form. And this is how we know, this is the distinction, according to metaphysics, of what determines the difference between truth, what is real, and illusion. And that is this, it's really simple. That which is real never dies. It's eternal. Now look around at this world and tell me what in this world is that. Love. Your eternal being, which comes, I believe, comes in with the breath. You know, I've often said that when I leave this planet, when the breath withdraws itself from this body, I go with that. And we're saying, what are we doing? We are made to be bringing energy in and out. Sorry. What do I need to do? Me and machinery, you know, I don't know. We have a thing. We have a thing going on. Anyway, yeah, so what is illusion is temporary. That's how you know the difference between what is real and what is not. And this is a good thing to remember when we're out there believing the scenario that we are feeling that is producing fear, anxiety, resistance of any kind. This is us up here projecting out our story, our imagined story, onto the world. And think about the collective consciousness, how much of that we got going on in this world. So what we have is a collective picture, illusion of fear, and we totally buy it. We believe it. We think that's the way life is. It's what life is. It brings me to the tools of the positive perception I was talking about as being one of the tools. So we have these tools, the imagination, which allows me to imagine what I choose, what I want, focus there instead of, oh, what if? And it was like that before, and so, men are always buttholes to me. Excuse my French. It's sort of that story that I had for years about men, and men are just a problem, and they just. I had a story about men, and I projected it out. And so if you were a man and you came into my presence, and I've got that story going on, universal law says if I'm thinking it, I'm going to be feeling and acting as if it's true. So how am I going to be treating you if you're a male, if this is my story about you? And what's it going to feel like to you? And then what story in you might get kicked up? Right? And now you're interacting with me from your story, which has been triggered by my projection. And you've just proven my story. You will act towards me in a way that I can go away grumbling about you. Because you did this and you didn't do that, and look at the way you looked at me, and how dare you say that to me? Without recognizing at all that I'm the one that taught you to treat me the way you do. We do this. This is what we do. We come together and we quickly project our story on one another, and we imagine it's true. We're imagining it. I'm seeing that about you, and so I'm seeing it. Because remember, the imaginal, what I'm imagining is as real as what I see out here. I'm just projecting it out. And now I'm seeing you just like that, like I was off with my horses in the schoolroom. See, I'm off in my story. So I'm not seeing you. You're sitting here having whatever experience you're having. I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing my projection. I'm in my inner vision about you. And so knowing this, because this is why we do this. This is why we project, I believe, why we project such unhappy stories on each other. All of it's purposeful. There are three sort of premises that once we begin to look at life through these three premises, it really helps us move to a higher perspective. It helps us remember what's real. And the first one is that I am not this body. I am not the story that I carry about me in this body. I am imagining this, and I came to imagine, and I'm imagining a story of being not enough, or not good enough, or not safe, or can't do it right, or whatever our story is. I don't belong. People don't really like me. I can't get along out here in the world. These are all unhappy stories that we project out. But this is how we learn about the tool of projection, the tool of imagination, the tool of positive perception. So what might I be seeing instead? And I've had this experiment a lot. You might want to try it with someone that you struggle with. I've done this with such tremendous success. I had a long sort of unhappy start with my stepfather. My mom and he were married 33 years. In the first 15 years, easily of that, my siblings and I would talk. We'd get together and strengthen each other's unhappy story about him and how he was in the way of our relationship with Mom, and we couldn't even have Mom anymore because he was all, and we'd do this. And then we would come into a gathering, and when I would see him, one day I realized that, wow, Lynn, the question occurred, wonder what he sees when you walk in the room. Wonder what you look like to him. And I immediately started seeing how I would come in and I would, if he and Mom were together, I would go and I would get between them because he's always in the way, so I'm just not having that. So I'm just going to stand there in front of him. And then, I wouldn't even look at him. I'd roll my eyes when he would talk or look away or sigh. And so here I am giving him cues about what I think of him. And so I decided that day when I had that, I was on my way to visit them, I decided I'm going to do it different this time. What would it be like if I didn't see him that way? What if I could see what a gift he is to my mom and what a gift he is to us because he takes such good care of her. So I walked into the room and as fate would have it, no accidents. That's another one of the things to remember. There's no coincidence, no accident. Because we are energy in the making, which means that everything is going to be a projection right on time, a mirror of. So I walked in the room and there he was standing across the room, looking towards the door, watching the door, and people were coming in there. A lot of the family was already there. I walked in, and I saw him. As soon as I walked in, he looked up at me, and I just walked right across this room to him this time. And I said to him, and I gave him a hug. He's a little kind of like, well, I don't know if I should, but I gave him a hug, and I said to him, I was thinking about you on the way up here, and I just want you to know how much I appreciate what you do for my mom. And how because you are in her life, we do not have to worry about her. And he didn't know what to say. He was just like, but you could tell he was like, and please. And then we walked over together to hug Mom. He kind of followed me over. And instead of getting in front of him this time, I included him. And I told Mom, I was just telling Harold how much I love and appreciate what he does for you. And she was beaming. Do you know that our relationship changed forever in that moment? And he was in her life 33 years, so another 15 or 17 years. When she left, and she left before he did, I continued to go visit him, even though she was gone, up until he died. He had become, and he would say, you are so much like your mom. You're my favorite. He'd forgotten all that because I simply changed my story about him. And this is what it is to tap into a higher perspective. And remember, we are of divine essence. This is who we are. Everything else is a story. And you get to choose and write the story, guys. This is up to you. So recognizing, what is my story? How would I like it to be? May God bless you today, and thank you so much for having me back on this stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, that was absolutely wonderful. Thank you. Our children decided to sleep in today. So we look forward to next week when they're joining us. So we're going to move into our time of actually divine healing, which we like to do every Sunday. And we have a number of healers here today. And we're going to invite 4 or 5 of those forward to come forth in front of the platform here in a moment. And they'll turn to you and just radiate energy, loving energy towards you. So we just invite you to sit and receive. Okay, so at this time, the healers that we do have I ask for you to come forth at this time, please. There we go. And so we invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you at this time. And allow yourselves to receive the healing energies that are being shared with you. And receive them energetically, as our speaker shared today, how we are all connected. And so allow for those and so it is. Thank you, healers. And so now we'll move into our time of our tithes and offerings. And we invite you to take your tithes and your gifts in your hands and bless them. And let us know that in this very precious time, as we have been fed spiritually too, it is always a wonderful gift that we can share with others as we gift back on that spiritual level. And I would ask for the ushers to come forth at this time. And let us share a blessing together. Let us know that divine love moves through each and every one of us. And as we give, we receive. We are grateful to share from our storehouse of abundance. And for all of this, we say thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. And as the ushers come forth to share the plates, let us enjoy music once again with Carol and Alex.
One step, one act, it's a simple fact. We can be the change. Don't have to do it all, no step is too small. We can be the change. Be the change. We can be the change. Be the change. We can be the change. One heart, one voice, it's a simple choice. We can be the change. When it calls to you, when it's yours to do, you can be the change. Be the change. We can be the change. Be the change. We can be the change. Reach out one hand, be the change. A part of the plan, be the change. Put it into motion, be the change. Like a ripple on the ocean, be the change. Be the change. We can be the change. Be the change. We can be the change. Be the change. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.